Price, aka The Connector, and we're here on the New Urban Network. I want to welcome all of you. I hope all of you are washing your hands and keeping that social distance, that you are exercising culture and being healthy in your habits today. We are on the third month of a quarantine that is international, and it's important that we bring individuals and organizations together to address this. So one of the things we're going to deal with in this program is some advice on what to do in post-lockdown. But first, I want to introduce you to someone who is doing some great things in the community. Dealing with one aspect is that, especially in the Black community, has not been addressed efficiently in terms of parents or elders teaching their children how to handle money. And money is something something that seems to be foreign in the Black community because they don't embrace it like it's a part of them. They seem to take money and want to give it away. So in order to counteract that, I want to bring in somebody who's dedicated their life to educating individuals, youth, and adults on how to be financially prosperous and be financially and emotionally intelligent. So, welcome, Mr. Cory Camp.
What's going on, Mike? How you feeling today, man? Everything good with you?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm blessed, man. I'm blessed every day.
These COVID, how you doing in these COVID streets, man? Everything all right?
Yeah, look, this is the most contact I had with people through.
That's funny.
No, I've been out and about. I don't come in contact with anybody, but I'll be observing, man. I mean, it's very interesting because now today the norm is to wear masks, right? And I don't care where. Think about that. I don't care where you're at. I don't care if you're in North Philly, South Philly, New Jersey, New York, Florida, Paris, France, Taiwan. Doesn't matter where you in the world. If you're not wearing a mask, people are looking at you like you're funny, like something's wrong. Right? Now think about that. 2 months ago, that wasn't the norm.
No, not at all. You a Black man wearing a mask in America 2 months ago, you might get ran down on.
Exactly. And it's still kind of nervous now seeing people running around with masks on. You say, I only seen half of their face, whatever.
Hey, listen, that's why I don't really go nowhere. Because it ain't about the social distancing. I don't like people everybody walking around in masks.
Right.
I'm not for that. I'm not for that business at all. I'm from a place where a person walking around with a mask, you can get robbed of everything you own, including your life. So I'm good on the mask thing.
You know what's interesting, and as we get into this, because I had an encounter. I was in a market the other day, and I had an encounter with somebody who was, I was observing my social distance, right? And they were at the register. They had like a bulletproof thing in front of the register anyway, so you couldn't exactly breathe on it. But they were at the register, and then they went down to pack their bags. Now I haven't moved. I'm still standing there, but they had to walk back because the guy hadn't finished processing their transaction. So they walk back toward me and go, "Excuse me." I didn't even go, "Excuse me." It says, Can you step back?" And I stepped back, and I stood there and I thought about it. I said, there's a way that you could talk to people. You know, there's a way that you say that. I said, you could have said, "Excuse me." And I wouldn't have felt some kind of, but I just felt as well, you weren't speaking to me like respectfully.
You didn't feel respected by how he said it, not what he said.
Right. So she's gonna say, "Well, it's for you. It's not just for me. It's for you." I would say, "Well, I understand all that, but I understand this. There's new etiquette nowadays, right? And you have to adapt to this because if I was somebody else, I would have. I told her this. I said, "Look, this is not going no farther than right here. I needed to say that to you because I'm not just going to allow somebody to make me feel some kind of way or allow myself to feel some kind of way without me speaking on it. But you're going to have to learn that, because somebody else could, get very offended by that, and you get a different reaction.
Listen, I don't talk to
But I'm thinking now,
I'm thinking,
what about when they let everybody out and certain people observing the mask rule and the 6 feet, and the other people are like, I don't even believe in that.
I got an instant solution for that. I don't talk to strangers in public. She would have asked me to step back. Either I step back or I don't. I don't say nothing. I don't talk to strangers in public. So she could have argued, fought, and fussed. Either I'm a step back or I'm not.
Right.
So that situation would have been a 3-second situation. Either I would have stepped back and it would have been over and I wouldn't have said anything, or I would have stood there until she moved back forward. But either way, it would have been a 3-second thing, because I don't talk to people. I don't talk to strangers in public no more after the COVID joke. Like, we're not talking about nothing.
You know what I started to do? Because I'm standing up there with the mask on. I started just taking the mask down and start talking to her, right? Just to be ignorant, but I decided I wasn't going to do that.
Yeah.
But now I thought about it after I left out of there. I said, you know what? This is a new world, and we had to learn how to adjust to it. And we're going to have to come up with some new rules and some new strategies, from this day forward. When you get off a lockdown, a lot of things like we know a lot of businesses aren't coming back. They're saying something. I know that that's between 30 to 50% of the small businesses probably won't be returning.
Yeah, that's for sure, because the small businesses depend on foot traffic that you can't get with this COVID lockdown thing. So as long as the city's on lockdown, those businesses start to lose money, and then at the point where they lose so much money, and then it's still going to take time for those people to still come back, because people still don't feel safe in large crowds. And so any business that depend on large crowds, because there's a lot of service business that see, this is where knowing the stock market helps, right? And so, getting into that, right? So there are certain business models for certain things, right? And business models like bars and places like that, where they depend on lots of people, they don't make a lot of money on any one thing, so they need a lot of people to make a lot of money, right? So it's not like a I would say an auto shop, right? Auto shop, they can mark it up 50%. They only need to do 3 or 4 cars a day. If only 3 or 4 people a day go into a bar, that bar is going to close down. So the margins look different for different businesses. So a lot of those small businesses that depend on foot traffic, that depend on people traffic, those businesses are going to suffer and die because of this COVID-19 thing. And because people not going to feel safe. They have not come up with a vaccine, which I'll never take, and they have not come up with any kind of like curative thing for whatever's going on. And so until they do that, people not gonna be feel safe going into large crowds. So again, any place that depends on large crowds,
some people won't feel safe. Some people are just organizing crowds of people to hang with.
Hey, listen, and if you into that, I'm all for you doing that. Just know that you don't have to pay for the actions, but you got to pay for the consequences. You got to pay the consequences of that action. You can do whatever you want, but you're gonna pay for it. Either you're gonna pay like you weigh, or you're gonna pay like you owe. But you're gonna pay. So
right. I'm just, you know what? And I'm like you. I'm just waiting to see. Since these people had these rallies, I'm waiting 2 weeks. I'm expecting, I forgot what they call it.
Every time they have one of them rallies, the COVID numbers spike and all that other crazy. Listen, I'm good with it. Like, as long as you're good with the simple fact that your actions have consequences and you're willing to pay the thing about that is that because COVID is spread by, human to human, you're not just being responsible for yourself. You're responsible for the other people you come into contact with. So if you keep going into crowded places, and then you go into places, and then you come into contact with people who have self-quarantine and don't want that kind of contact, you're messing with their livelihood.
Exactly.
But on the other hand, if they don't unleash people and let them back into the economy is going to take a dump, and then it won't be nothing to go back to. So I don't admire the person that has to make those decisions. It's because they can't make the right decision. Because if they don't open it up, all of those businesses die, and then the cities die, right? But if they do open it back up, then you put a terrible strain on your healthcare system, right?
See, the problem, I think one of the problems is that major corporations are getting super bailouts, but the small business community is not. And some of it has to do with what do you call it? I don't want to call it redlining, but some has to do with them not being prepared, them not having all their taxes, paperwork done, so they're not eligible to be able to get that money because they don't have the right paperwork. Then the other side of it is they don't qualify for some reason.
Yeah, well, me, I don't qualify for anything, so I haven't received one penny of anything.
Right.
So I'm one of those people, but
so what's going to happen?
I qualify for stuff. I qualify for stuff like the PPP loans or the EIDL loan. I could file for that stuff, but I didn't file because I wanted to make people have it be eligible for other people. Now, my wife filed. Because, we run a business together. So my wife did file, but I didn't file personally because I was like, I know how to go get $1. I don't need to, I don't really need that to move forward. So, but it doesn't mean, I'm not better than nobody and none of that. I just have a skill that'll pay me every day if I want to get paid. So is that doesn't have anything to do with me, like I said, I have
today is that even if you did have your primary, you need to have some kind of other side, side job, side hustle, whatever you want to call it, in order for you to
no. Again, I'm all about lifestyle design, right? So you design the lifestyle that you want, right? So if you want to have time to spend with your family and with your kids, the thing that buys time is money. You have to learn how to make more money without spending more time to make it. And that's what investing allows you to do. That's what building a business allows you to do. Most people that call themselves business people are not business people. Those people are entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs are not necessarily business people. Entrepreneurs spend their time making money. And an example of an entrepreneur would be a barber or a dentist, right? If you don't show up, you don't get paid, right? So even though you make a lot of money, you're still an entrepreneur. Business people leverage the time and efforts of other people to make money. So a business owner would be somebody like a franchisee, like somebody that owns like a McDonald's or a Popeyes, where the people working there make the money, and they're not spending their time on the business. They just collecting a check. So that's the difference between an entrepreneur and a business owner. And so most people that call themselves business owners aren't actually business owners, right? They're entrepreneurs. And there's nothing wrong with being an entrepreneur or somebody that works or somebody that works for other people, right? As long as no matter what you're doing, you need to be investing, right? You need to be building a business or you need to be investing. So if you're an entrepreneur, you need to learn how to become a CEO instead of having to do the day-to-day tasks of your business so that you can use that time to do something else. If you're working for somebody else, you need to take your money and invest it so your money will take care of you, right? So in the end, at a certain point, your money will make more than you're currently making, right? Because there's a thing called compound interest. And compound interest is one of the 8 wonders of the world. Because what compounding interest allows you to do is allows your money to stack and bubble up, and then allows it to take care of you over time, right? And so what I always tell people is, if you have a job, let that job be your first investment. That job is your first investment. Pay yourself first, put some money to the side. If you do not pay yourself and put your money to the side and use every dollar that you have on living expenses, food, and all of that kind of stuff, you're a slave. Literally,
Right.
the definition of slave is to work for nothing.
Right.
So if you work and you don't put no money to the side, you made yourself a slave. Your job didn't make you a slave. You did it to yourself because they paid you a wage and you didn't put none of that wage to the side for yourself. You created a slave of yourself.
Self-imposed
Don't
slavery.
be that. Self-imposed slavery. Don't be a slave. Always put something to the side for yourself so you don't become a slave. And so, these are the principles that we teach at By the Hood. We teach these principles to kids from 5 to 18 in our summer camp, right? Also, we created an online platform where we can teach adults this, and we can teach adults a skill that would allow them to create money out of thin air. So we will show you how to do it if you want to learn. But the thing is, we were doing it for free, and people didn't appreciate it. And so now we got to put a price on it to make you pay attention.
That's true, man.
And so at that point, if you're willing to pay the price, we're willing to teach. We're willing to teach for free. But when we were doing it for free, nobody wanted. We literally
Right. That's bad. When you have something that you give away for free, you give away for free that costs money, and people don't appreciate it. Yet you see people saying they have a less valuable product than you, and people paying for it. And
listen, I watched people pay $3,000 and $4,000 for the information we were giving away for free. I know my partner was given the information that we were giving away for free. People were flying him around the world to give that same information away. They were flying him around the world. We were giving that same exact information away for free.
Mm-hmm.
People flying him around the world to get that information. We would sit down with people for 2 and 3 and 4 hours, as long as it took, to explain to them how to get into the game and how to. We did about 5 or 6. We did about 5 or 6 families before COVID came out. We were going out to see families. We would allow them to bring 5 family members. I said, listen, we said anybody who can bring 5 family members together, we'll come to your house and show y'all how to do this. And people wasn't even taking us up. We only had 5 families take us up on our offer. We were like, cool. All right.
So what do you say that? Where does that come from? Why is there that?
Because people don't put a value. People don't respect free because they figure if you're giving away for free, it's not worth anything. And so, listen. Let me tell you the opposite side of that. We charge $1,000 for that same information, and we got 20 students. Same exact information. But because we put a price tag on it, more people were drawn to it, which is absolute berserk and crazy. And so we cut that price down so that more people could get involved. But that's the kind of madness that goes on in the world. Because when we were giving it away for free, nobody wanted it. Nobody.
Well, let me ask you this, Cory. Let's pivot here a little bit, because I want to know more about you. So,
okay.
What brought you here to this point?
I'm sorry, say that again, Mike.
I want to know more about you. Tell me about your journey to this point. Where you at?
All right, so I'm a born and bred Philadelphian. Grew up in North Philly, at 20th and York, one of the craziest drug corners in the whole entire city. And I was a great student. I was a straight A student for most. I went to Central High. I ended up at Central High. Was an athlete, things of that nature. I went to coming out, so I took the longest route to get where I'm at. So as an adult, I went first to Westchester University. I burned out of Westchester University. I had a family event, which was my grandmother passing away, which just destroyed me as far as a student goes. So I was like, yeah, I gotta not do this college thing. So I went to the Army to get away. Spent some time in the Army. When I got back, came back, I wasn't ready for school yet. So I went to the city year, Greater Philadelphia, learned a lot about the nonprofit world there. And also got my first teaching gig there. Then I went back to school. I have a CNA because I couldn't decide what I wanted to do. So I went and got a CNA because I didn't know what I wanted to do. Then I ran into some money. I ain't run into it. I earned it. And then I became interested in buying property and stuff. So I bought a couple properties. That ain't go right well because of 2008, that just went topsy turvy.
Right. Well.
Then man, so got into my family were bar owners. So me and my family, we owned. We had a family run bar. I finally graduated from college in 2010. I graduated from high school in '95. I didn't graduate 4-year college till 2010. But I did graduate. So I graduated from CCP. I graduated from CCP first, and then I went to the 4-year college. So I went from high school to college to the Army to a trade school to a 2-year school to the 4-year school, and then to the master's program. So I took the longest possible route to get where I'm at. How I got involved in finance, I came across some self-paced videos, learned it on my own, got some great help for some individuals, some black people that showed me their whole thing was to show other black people how to invest. And then once I got that information, me and my partner came together. My partner's name is Jimmy Williams, and we formed the company By the Hood. He had already started the company. And because I was a teacher, because that's the thing I did once I got my degree. My degree is in the administration of human services. I was a teacher, and we combined our forces. So I put all the educational pieces together and all of our social pieces together. And he was a realtor, and he also used to be an insurance agent and a financial planner, and he's also a real estate agent. So we both have a lot of skills that we brought together and brought to the table, and so that's how we formed our company, and that's how we got to where we are now. Because we were teaching it, we were like, look, we both make enough money where we don't need the money. We were out there teaching it for free. We was like, why take the money out of the people's pocket that they could be using to invest? But nobody, what people wanted to hear is, people would show up at 30 and 40 at a time when we would hold events. But when we said, all right, the events are getting too cumbersome, and we said, all right, we'll come to families who really want this. So we started a summer camp. We would get about 20 kids in our summer camp every summer. And so we taught kids, we taught about over the last 3 summers. So that's about 60, 70 kids that we taught to invest over the last 3 summers. And then, like I said, the 5 families. So we've taught, a couple hundred people how to invest over the last few years. And now we're teaching people online how to invest. And so that's where we are now. And in the future,
Cory, so why do you do this?
Grow that out and be able to teach more families how to invest. Huh?
Why? What's your why, man? Everybody has a why. Something that motivates them.
The why is that because black wealth is black power, and black wealth doesn't necessarily only mean money, right? Black wealth is black power. So what money does is allow people to combine time, right? So what I want to do is I want a lot more people to have a lot more money so that we can have a lot more time to do the things our community needs to do. It's not about the money. It's more about the time. I want people to have more time to do the things our community needs done.
Is there any like one instance or one, like, for instance, Muhammad Ali, as the story goes, these boys came up and stole his bike. He got pissed off and went to a boxing gym, learned how to box so nobody never take his bike again, and ended up, he turned out to be, 3 times heavyweight boxing champion of the world, greatest fighter ever lived. That incident.
I mean, there's a lot of things that made me want to do it, but really, two major things made me want to do this. One was when Mike Brown got killed. I was looking for solutions because that really wrinkled my drawers. How they killed him in the street and then they were like arresting him with gunshots, and like that bothered me a lot. And then there was like a spate of killings where they killed, Freddie Gray and Sandra Bland. Like it was just, they killed like 100 people in like a month and a half. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
So
right. Looked around and somebody was getting shot, unarmed, in the back.
Unarmed black people getting shot, men and women. And
I'm like, boy, guns.
Yeah, Tamir Rice. You know what I mean? Like, not to belittle the kids, but and so at that point, I made a decision to not care about anybody's outcomes but black people. And so that's what I dedicated my life to create better outcomes for black people. And so, to watch those things happen, and at the time, what I wanted to do was take up arms. But I was like, then that put me in a box, and then I can't really help my people from a box. Mm-hmm. So, because, I'm military, like my first reaction was, if they pop, you pop back. I'm from North Philly, and I'm military. My first reaction was like, get them off the earth. I was like, everybody not built to get them off the earth. And so if we not going to get them off the earth, we got to put ourselves in a position where we powerful enough that doing that it has consequences that they have to face. Because what's happening is they're doing it without consequence.
Right. That's the problem. That's the problem with our political system, is that we put people in office and then they get in the office and they have no alliance.
We don't have no way to keep them accountable because we don't have no money. Politics is a money game. We not paying, everybody else is paying to play and we not paying to play. So when you don't pay to play, you get the scraps.
Right.
Everybody else is paying to play.
Our money is like disorganized. It's like, it's like, Cory, it's like we a family, right? So there's 5 people in the family. Now together, everybody got $100. But nobody want to put their money together. They all want to have $100 instead of together we have $500. You can buy anything. That's 5 times the buying power. But instead, stick with our $100, keep it to ourselves, and have less, and can't get anything that we really want because we need to have 5 times as much power in order to get there.
Or so what'll happen is right. Everybody, like you said, 5 people got $100, right? And instead of all 5 people putting $20 in the pot and owning 20% of it, one person will put up the $100 so they can be in control, which is dumb. Now that one person is broke, and then everybody else, if nobody else supports that person is broke and doesn't have any supports. That's what happens in the black community. Everybody wants to be the chief instead of everybody combining and using the combined power of your money. Because my thing is, for most black people, you're working. 98% of black people work for white people, which is why racism is so prevalent. Right? So I want to take you off of that system. Get off of that 98%. If you can have something that you work for yourself, you have time and you have the energy and the efforts, you can do whatever you want to do. Now all of those political rallies and things y'all want to have, you got time for that. You don't have time for that when you're working 40 hours a week, supporting a family, going to school, doing all of the things you got to do to support your family. You have to find a way to be able to use your time for something else that helps build the community. And so that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to give people more time by giving them more money. And I'm not giving it to them, but I'll show you how to get it for yourself.
You know what? I'm just thinking that it's our priorities. I guess let me ask you about this, because I know the challenge in that I do workshops myself, and I've done workshops with young people, and I've done workshops with older people, and I know that with the younger people, they're more open to a lot of new ideas or even old ideas, because they don't, they're like a clean slate. And then, but a lot of the older folks got this way of thinking, right? And I call it stinking thinking, because it's negative. They're all full of yeah buts and what ifs.
I can tell you exactly what to do. I can stop you right now. I can tell you exactly what to do with them people.
Mm-hmm.
Leave them wherever they at, and build with people that with like-minded, like-energy people. Leave them wherever they at. Because my thing is, if you build a wave big enough, it's going to swallow them anyway. You don't have to build with people that don't want to build. Build with the people that want to build a wave, and then swallow the people that don't want to get involved. Because they got to join. At a certain point, the wave gets so big, they got to join. So you don't worry. The thing, people worry too much about the wrong stuff. Build with people that want to build with you. So the people who think like that, I let them go ahead, because after a while, I'm going to swallow you up. I'm going to swallow you up, and you're going to join me anyway. I'm going to build it so big that you come to me. Instead of me having to chase you down, I'm going to build it big enough that you come to me.
See, that's the thing. Like you found your niche, and that's a financial thing. I'm kind of looking at, I mean, I've done a lot of stuff in the community, but I'm really looking at, like, we got a mindset. In order
but my thing is, if you're trying to build
money, they got to open up their minds, and so they can receive. And that's what the problem is. The problem is being bombarded with negative images of self, of their attitude toward money, right? They got that money's root of all evil, and you don't deserve to get money, and
that's programming.
Get your rewards in the next life, and they learned all that stuff, all that Christian Judea type principles.
Yeah, I don't believe in none of that stuff. But anyway, like not because not just because reality says if I believe in that, then that puts me at a great disadvantage. I don't want poop on nobody's thoughts and religions and all of that kind of stuff. That ain't it. I don't want to create that kind of divisiveness on on this platform. Like, I have my own thoughts, and if you want to see my thoughts, my Facebook is Cory Camp, and I keep it raw. I keep it raw there. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to do it. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But
let me ask you this. Well, let's end with this. Post lockdown, what's your advice to the individual, to the community out there, on what they can do? What specific steps that they can take in order to? I mean, now's the time for me. You can find opportunity.
So I'm gonna give you a 4-step plan. Okay. Educate yourself about the finance and politics. Start an investment club. Start it with your children. If you don't want to do it for yourself, start it with your children and their friends. Start an investment club so that your children don't have to live the life that you did. Mm-hmm. Educate yourself. Start an investment club. Be proactive and not reactive. Whatever's going on in the world is going to go on in the world. We've been in the situation we've been in for 500 years. It ain't going to change overnight. Be proactive and work on the things you can work on, and don't worry about the things that's going on around you to the point where it distracts you and you don't get anything done. And then build with your tribe. Stop trying to convert people. Conversion is a very small, there's very small percentages of conversions, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So don't try to build with people that don't think like you. Put your ideas out there, and the people that think like you will come to you. And my thing is, you build it big enough so that they come to you, and don't try to incorporate everything and everybody into everything that you're doing. So those are the 4 things. Those are actionable steps. Those are things that you can do to build post-COVID.
Okay. Great. So that's some great information. I think we learned some things today. I think it's more about, sounds to me like it has mindset and attitude are the 2 things that are key ingredients in managing your money and having a certain attitude about money. And I hear you. I hear you when you're saying the difference between the business and the entrepreneur. Entrepreneur puts in all these hours and time. It's just like working on a job. Whereas the business leader, he takes his money, or the business owner doesn't have to put all those times, doesn't have to put 8 hours in order to get a check, right? He's got other people putting time in there. So,
but my thing is, we could do that for ourselves. We can use the combined time to do that for ourselves.
Right. We need to present that to our youth, because we were brought up to work for somebody, to become a good employee. That's
why number 2 was the investment club. That's why I gave you number 2 as the investment club. Mm-hmm. You don't have to. It's not that difficult. If you need a framework for an investment club, I have a framework for an investment club too. So we can work that out.
I'm working on a mastermind. I'm gonna talk to you about that. About the mastermind.
Because that's how you build. That's how you build and own your own businesses.
Mm-hmm.
You build them. You got to start small. Reverend Leon Sullivan, look at the 1036. That's how Black businesses get built.
Right.
That's the model that I'm using. And I'm using the model. I'm not recreating the wheel. I'm just using the wheel that was already created, and I'm putting rubber tires on it instead of it. You know what I mean? I'm making it look like 2020 instead of in the 1970s and 1960s when the Reverend Leon Sullivan did it. He built an infrastructure where Black people they had their own jobs. They created their own systems. Progress Plaza was a place where Black people worked, and it was all built by Black people and Black money. Reverend Leon Sullivan did it already.
His congregation, he had an investment club. What are you saying? They all
exactly. I told you, I'm not reinventing the wheel. It happened already, and it's been shown to work. So why reinvent it? So if you want to do something, look at the name is his name is Reverend Leon Sullivan. There's a building named after him right on Broad Street, right next to Progress Plaza, where he did all of the things that he built that thing for those people. If you want to learn how to do something like that, look up his name and look at what he did, and then copy it.
You know, it's funny because one of the first things I did when I started studying and researching community engagement, I took a class down at Temple on community engagement, and the brother who taught the class, he gave out a copy of a book by Reverend Leon Sullivan called Bill, Brother Bill. And then he taught us that whole history. So what you're talking about, I'm very familiar with that in terms of selective patronage and how he changed things around. And then he took it from one level, then he went global with it and went over to South Africa, used the same principles to change that. He changed things in Philadelphia where they weren't giving us no jobs to where they were knocking on the door trying to give us jobs. You know, so I definitely understand. He definitely is a significant person. Matter of fact, in my book, Be Magnificent Under Vision, he's one of the people that I talk about, people with vision who found something, who found a problem, and they created something. But I see that you are solving problems, and you have found your niche, and I'm glad that we got brothers like you out there. We probably need you to bring you in. I mean, I on your Facebook, I see your Facebook, and I've had conversations with you. So, but we do need those ideas, radical ideas, at meetings, at community meetings. Maybe not having to do with one thing, but it's a mindset. And they got to get that mindset. You got to, like, if you're a warrior class, you got to act like a warrior. You can't be doing all, you do what warriors do, you know? So, but I'm glad you're out here. I'm glad you're doing what you're doing. Keep doing what you're doing. As always, this is Michael Rice, the Connector Live. And I always end my program with telling you to always exceed your expectations. And this is Michael Rice, AKA the Connector, and Cory Camp saying, be magnificent.
All right, Mike, I gotta go. I appreciate you, man.
I appreciate you too. And
All
thanks
right,
for the lesson.
oh, no problem, man. I love you, man.
All right. I'm gonna edit this up. I'll shoot you a copy of it.
All right.